Parents ignored my elder sister's brutal bullying for years, so I finally moved out at 18. 6 years later they want us to reconcile, so they hit me up with this bad news, but it blows up in their faces because...
Final part.
Dad told me how him and Mom had talked and now they felt sorry for everything I had gone through and admitted that they should have listened to me more. He told me that they were now finally willing to send Rose to therapy so she could get the help she clearly needed. Hearing those words from him felt almost surreal, especially when I had spent so much of my childhood begging him and Mom to take action against my sister only to be dismissed or told to understand Rose's behavior. Dad continued to say they wanted to meet with me and apologize in person if I was willing to listen. This is when I told my dad as calmly as I could that while I was glad to see them finally give my sister the help she needed, the truth was I just didn't care anymore. Too much time had passed without them even bothering to contact me. And over the years, I had come to terms with their absence and built a life that no longer included them. I wasn't willing to ever reconcile with them now. My dad then tried to push back, urging me to reconsider, if I don't reconcile with my family, especially after the way they have treated me for years. Update 1. To clarify a few things because I can't reply to everyone in the comments for anyone asking, no, my sister was never bullied. She went to a special school designed for kids with needs like her and it was a very small, well-monitored environment. The school only allowed a handful of special needs students and they were kept watch on at all times throughout the day. Her teachers were great and took excellent care of her and my parents were always involved in her life, checking in on her regularly. There's no way my sister was somehow bullied at school, and that is why she took out her anger on me. The truth is her problems were never about external factors. They were about how she was allowed to behave at home. She was mean to me constantly and my parents let her get away with it. If she bit me, slapped me, or shoved me, she faced no repercussions about it. Meanwhile, I was always expected to pacify her or be more understanding about her behavior. As for why Rose was never sent to therapy, the simple truth is that therapy has always been too expensive for my parents to even think about. And on top of that, my mom has always had this possessive attitude when it came to Rose. She never allowed her to spend much time with anyone but her as she believed that only she understood all her needs. As a result, Rose is overly dependent on my mom and she is the one who makes any decisions regarding her. Anyways, now that I have gone through all the comments under my post, it's clear to me now why my parents are reaching out after all this time. The answer is obvious: they probably need my help with my sister's upcoming case. I think they might want me to offer a character reference for her if it comes to that, or maybe they're hoping I can assist with the lawyer's fees since I earn well and they might be aware of it. I know after all these years it cannot just be about reconnecting. It feels more about their desperation to fix things, especially with the legal trouble Rose is facing. They need someone to back her up and I suspect they think I can be that person. I'm sure they want me to just step in and be the good son who helps them fix their mess, but I am not going to be doing that. Update 2. For everyone asking how my grandparents feel about my parents wanting to reconnect with me, they're not exactly thrilled about it. Over the years, they don't really talk much with my parents, especially after everything that happened when I was kicked out and wanted to go to college. Since then, the relationship between them has been strained and they've mostly kept their distance. The only reason my grandparents have stayed in contact with my parents at all is because they have to sometimes help out with Rose, whether it's babysitting or taking care of her when my parents need assistance. My grandparents know exactly what Rose is like. They've seen it firsthand, her bullying, her behavior, and they're disappointed in how my parents have handled everything over the years. They've always been supportive of me, but when it comes to Rose, they've never been blind to her actions or excused them. So with my parents now wanting to mend things and reconnect with me, my grandparents have made it clear that they understand my hesitation. They've asked me to be cautious. They know how hurt I have been because of my parents and they don't want me to rush into something that might end up being more painful also. Also, my parents have continued to send me messages this week. They are strongly urging me to consider giving them another chance. They keep emphasizing how much they regret the way things have been between us and how they've realized they made mistakes. As a result, I feel torn, to be honest. Update 3. Okay. So my suspicions were right about my parents. Today, I finally agreed to a video call with my parents after they had been asking me for weeks. It had been such a long time since we'd last seen each other and honestly, I was feeling a mix of emotions leading up to the call. When I finally saw them on the screen, I couldn't help but notice how different they looked. They appeared much older than I remembered, tired, worn out even. It broke my heart a little seeing them that way. Despite the emotions swirling inside me, I tried to keep myself composed. We talked about their lives, about how things had been for them, and then I told them a little about my work. We discussed my grandparents catching up on the little things that had happened in our family. Our conversation felt almost normal, like no time had passed since I had last seen them. My parents also apologized to me again. They seemed almost desperate in their words, asking me to come visit them, promising they'd been thinking about me. But at that moment, I couldn't hold back any longer. I asked them outright, why now? After all, if they had really missed me, wouldn't they have reached out sooner? During college when I was away and actually needed their support, they hadn't made any effort to stay in touch. So what was different now? Why were they suddenly so eager to reconnect after all this time? That's when my parents almost reluctantly started to reveal the real reason they had reached out to me. They explained that they were in desperate need of financial help to take care of my sister Rose. My dad told me that over the years they had spent almost all of their savings on Rose's constant medical treatments. The costs had drained them. And now with her legal case pending and the potential therapy she would need for her behavioral issues, the financial burden was becoming overwhelming. My dad finally asked me, almost pleadingly, if I could perhaps start sending them some money every month since I was doing so well in life. My mom quickly chimed in, making it clear that the money would only be used for Rose, nothing else. I shook my head in response, feeling a knot tighten in my stomach. I asked him, voice trembling with frustration, "Do you seriously think I would just send you my hard-earned money to spend on Rose?" I was struggling to hold back my anger. No matter how much you need it, how could I possibly help you with her? She's the one who bullied me all those years. She's the one who made my life hell. She's the one who ruined every single birthday celebration I ever had. My voice cracked as I continued. She's the one who never once showed any sympathy or care for me, so why would I help her now? The history between me and Rose was so painful, and now they wanted me to step in and be the financial savior for someone who had treated me with such cruelty. It didn't make sense, and I couldn't let go of the years of hurt. I didn't stop there though. All my frustration and years of bottled up resentment came rushing out. I pointed out to my parents that they had never protected me from Rose. They had never shown me any real compassion when it came to her. Instead, they just expected me to fall in line, to play along with their narrative and take care of her as if everything she did was just something I had to accept. I was a child and I needed their protection, but they had failed me multiple times. I pointed out that even though Rose has ADHD, it doesn't mean she shouldn't be held accountable for her actions. Now that she's a grown woman, I blamed my parents and made it clear that if they had actually gotten her proper help back when she was younger, maybe things would have been different today. Maybe she would have turned out to be a better person, someone capable of understanding the hurt she sometimes causes to other people, but they hadn't. They had let her get away with so much that she ended up getting arrested for harassing young children. Even after this, they were asking me to step in and help her as if I wasn't her first victim. My parents tried to argue back, but I told them that although I appreciated their apology, it didn't mean that I was going to just forgive and forget everything that had happened. Hearing this, my parents backed down. They told me that regardless of whether or not I could help them financially, they still wanted to continue working on our relationship. Mom told me that she wished she and Dad had made different choices back then, but since they couldn't change the past, they wanted to be there for me in any way that they could from now on. On one hand, I appreciated their willingness to move forward, but on the other, I wasn't sure I was ready to let go of all the pain that had been there for so long. I asked them for some time to think. Update 4. Sorry. It's been a month since my last update. My sister has been ordered to attend court-mandated counseling, which I suppose is a step in the right direction. My parents also had to pay a hefty fine because of what Rose did to harass those kids. I honestly thought my sister's punishment would be more severe, but I guess the judge showed some leniency since this was Rose's first official offense. On top of everything, some of the parents of the children involved have taken out a restraining order against my sister. Now Rose is legally required to stay far, far away from all their kids. If she violates that order, she'll be arrested. Now coming on to my parents, since that conversation where I refused to offer any financial help to them, they haven't brought it up again. We have continued to talk, but it's only about small trivial things. I guess they really meant their words and they're just trying to mend their relationship with me. Although I'm happy to be somewhat present in their lives again, I'm not ready to dive back into a full relationship with my family, especially not with Rose. I think I will never forgive her no matter how much time passes. The things she did to me, bullying me, making my life miserable for so many years, are things that can't just be erased. I hope with counseling, she finally begins to hold herself accountable for her actions. Honestly, I'm not sure how long that will take or if it'll ever happen.